Am I audible to you? And is my screen visible to you? Great, let's start. So continuation with your object-oriented programming. Normally what happens is you will be given this particular diagram in an organization, okay? And you'll be told to design a class. You'll be told to design a class, okay? So if you look over here, there is a class called as circle. This minus sign indicates that this data member radius and color are private. The data type is double and string, okay? In the constructor, the initial value should be 1. The initial color should be red. Initial color should be red. There are three constructor. Circle is a default constructor. Circle is a parameterized constructor taking one parameter, that is r, that stands for radius. And the third constructor takes two parameter, radius and string. Radius and string. Clear? Understood? There are three functions. Get radius should return a double, get color should return a string, get area should return a double. Get area should return a double. Understood? So two private data members, three constructor, three member function. As far as main is concerned, what we are going to do is we are going to create three objects, C1, C2 and C3. Understood? In the first case, I am passing both the parameter. Radius is 2 and the color is blue. Radius is 2 and the color is blue. In the second object, I am passing only one argument, and that is radius is 2. I am not passing color. That means this particular constructor. In the first case, I am passing radius as well as string. That is radius is 2, color is blue. In the next case, I am passing only the radius. I am not passing the color. And in the third case, I am neither passing the radius nor passing the color. Default constructor. That means it should be assigning the value 1 and color. Have you understood this class specification? Yes, no. Then there is a class circle which has got two data members, radius and color, three constructor and three functions. Now your job is to design this particular class, and my job is to provide this particular function called as testing of the main. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this particular code. And what is this particular code? This particular code is going to test the class. Okay, is going to test the class. Which class name? If you look over here, the name of my class is my circle. That means you are supposed to design a class called as my circle with the specification which was shown to you. In the first case, both the parameter were passed. In the next case, only radius was passed. And in the third case, no parameters was passed. Okay, your job is to design this particular class, and the name of the class is my circle. The name of the class is my circle. Okay, so kindly design this particular class called as my circle with two data members, three constructor and three member function. It is 11:3. By 11:8 it should be ready. Kindly design it. Okay, so now, as was told to you, you're supposed to design a class. Class name is my circle. Class name is my circle. Okay, so class name is my circle. Radius and color should be the two private data members. So I declare this as private double radius, private string color. Then I told you you should design a constructor called as circle. You should design a constructor called as circle. So I designed a constructor called as my circle. And what was the initial values they told you? The initial values they told you was 1.0 and red. So it is 1.0 and red. Then our job was to design the second constructor. Okay, the second constructor was taking one double value. So we are saying public my circle double r, radius equal to r, and the color will be the default one, which is again the red. Only one parameter is passed. The third one was the third constructor, and which was supposed to take both the values. So it is double r and string c, radius equal to r and color equal to c. Color equal to c. Then we were supposed to design three function get radius which should return a double. So I am saying get radius, it is returning a radius which is a double. If you look over here, radius is a double. So my return type is double. Similarly, public string get color is returning a color, and I have something called as a get area function. Now, how I write a get area function is get area is a function which is returning a double. I already know the value of the radius. So I will say radius into mat.py. Okay, mat.py. Mat is a class, pi is a constant available over here. So directly instead of typing 3.14, I will use the information which is already stored in the constant called as pi, which is declared as a static member in the mat class. So I'm going to say return radius into mat.py. So given the following diagram, you are supposed to design this particular class. Okay. Now you are supposed to test it by the function given to you. I already given you that particular function. So what I do, I have a class main in which what I do, I create an object of the my circle. I pass the value 2.0 and blue. So for this particular object, what I am saying, kindly make a call to the radius to display the radius, get color to give me the color, and get area to return an area. But we want to display area with two decimal places. So I can use something like percentage point 2f to display the data with two decimal places. In the next case, what I did, I created another object called as C2 with new my circle with the value 2.0. So in this case, what happened? I passed one parameter and that parameter was 2.0. I could have changed this to 4.0. Okay. Now in this case, get radius, get color, and get area will be called, which is going to return 4, the color as red, and the area will be calculated as 4 into 4 into mat.py. In the third case, I'm not passing any argument. So get radius should give me 2, get color should give me red, and this get area should give me 2 into mat.py. Is it clear to you? Given the diagram, you should be in a position to write or design the class. If it is okay, kindly type yes, no. Point 2f means display the data with two decimal places. Point 4f means display the data with four decimal places. Point 0f means display the data with zero decimal places. Backslash n takes the cursor on the next line. Backslash n takes the cursor on the next line. Okay, I'm giving you 2 minutes to test the complete program. I'm giving you 2 minutes. At 11:14, I'll be starting with the next example. Okay, let's continue. Now remember, if you want to display the data without any formatting, you can use system.out.println. If you want to display the data with formatting, you could do something like system.out.printf, where I have the ability to use the format specifier such as %.2f to display the data with 2 decimal places, \n to take the cursor on the next line. Okay, let's attack the next example. In the same example now, what I have got, I have got radius and color, 3 constructor, 3 getter function. Okay, get radius, get color, and get area. Now, what function we have to add? We have to add a function called as get circumference. So kindly do that. Add a function called as get circumference. Add one more function called as get circumference. You already know the formula for get circumference. How I am supposed to read this particular function? See, get area is a function which is returning a double. Similarly, get circumference is a function which is going to return a double. So I want you to write a code for the get circumference similar to get area. Two minutes. Okay. Okay. So what I expected you from your side was this particular function. This one. Next, I want you to write a function called as set radius. Now have a look at this set radius, how to read this. Set radius is a function which is not going to return anything. If you look at the get circumference, there is a double as a return type, but here it is void. That means it is not going to return any value. Okay. And it is going to take a string called as color that should be assigned to this particular color. Pay attention over here. Set color is taking the parameter which is having the same name as this particular data member. These are called a data member. These are the parameters of the function. So this parameter and the data member is having the same name. So somewhere you will have to use a this. So I want you to write a set color function which is going to set the value of the color to data member color. 2 minutes. Okay, so what I told you was I should be using a function called as set radius. The trick part was, no, sorry, set color. The trick part was the color was having the same name as a data member. So I expected you to write this particular function called as this one. Okay, so this dot color is equal to color. Why this dot color? Because this color indicates a data member. On the left hand side, this particular color is a data member. The right hand side color is the parameter name. Both are having the same name. So we have to say this dot color equal to color, and the return type is void. The next thing we need is we have to use something called as set radius, and the job of the set radius is to set the radius. Okay, similarly on the line of set color, I want you to write set radius. Printf is used to display the data in a formatted way, such as percentage point to f. You want to display the data with two decimal places, so we use printf. Percentage point to f cannot be used in print line. It has to be with printf. That's why f over there, formatted print. Give me the formatted print. Okay, so you were asked to write something called as set radius. Okay, this was the function expected from you. You have to write a function called as set radius, which will assign the radius to this particular radius. Done? Now, pay attention. We already seen my circle C1 is equal to new my circle 1.1 blue. My circle C2 is equal to new circle 2.2, only one parameter. My circle C3 is equal to my circle. Okay, and then we made a call to get radius, get area, and get color. Now what additional functions I want you to call? I want you to call get circumference. I want you to call get circumference. Okay, but along with that, try to display the contents of an object, SOP C1, SOP C2, SOP C3, and tell me what is your observation. So let me copy this for you. Okay, so what is the additional thing I have done over here? The additional thing I have done over here is SOP C1, SOP C2, SOP C3. And then the additional function that was called was get circumference. Get circumference. So kindly run the code. let me run this particular code. Okay, so what I had done, pay attention over here. There is a class called as MyCircle. I improved my program. I improved it in this way by making the code more readable. How I did, what I did was, I wrote over here default radius and default color as a static data member. Okay. Instead of saying 1.0 and red in the constructor, where I used to write 1.0 and red, what I did was I declared two static members with the default radius as 1 and the default color as red. Okay. So since second point is, first of all, it is a static. That means there is only one copy of it. Point number 2, there is something called as a final. What is the purpose of final? To declare the constant. That means you cannot change the contents. Because what I want throughout the code is, if I don't pass any parameter, my radius should always be 1.0, my color should always be red. So how do I achieve it? I achieve it by using something called as a final. So final indicates that it is a constant, you cannot change the content. Okay. Now this particular class MyCircle has two private data members, like how we have written in the previous example. Okay. Then it has got a constructor. In the constructor, what I wrote, what we used to write, this dot radius equal to 1.0, this dot color equal to red. I have now changed it by using default radius and default color. Makes my program more readable. Is it clear? Understood? Then we have got something like a parameterized constructor where I'm passing one parameter, which I'm saying this dot radius equal to radius. This dot color equal to the default color. Okay, so what's the default color? Over here, red. Done. Then there is a third constructor in which I pass radius and color, which are assigned to this dot radius and this color. Get radius, get color are get color and get radius are going to return the radius and the color. Same like a previous example. What has changed now is something called as a set color. Now what does set color do? Set color will change the color to something else. If you want, you can change the color also. We'll be having a look at it. If you want, you can change the radius also by using something called as a set radius. Okay. There is a get area function which is going to return pi r square. There is a get circumference which is going to return 2 pi r. How do I refer to pi? By using mat.pi. So what is mat? A class. What is pi? A static constant which has been assigned the value 3.14. Done? Understood? Now, MyCircle C1 is equal to new MyCircle 1.1 blue. MyCircle C2 is equal to new MyCircle 2.2. MyCircle C3 is equal to new MyCircle. Get radius, get color, get area were one and the same. Okay, what is the new thing over here is get circumference. Additionally, what I'm doing, I'm displaying C1, C2 and C3. Okay, let's see what happens when you try to display the object. So when I run the code over here, what happens is, let's see the output over here. So MyCircle C1 is equal to new MyCircle 1.1. So where it went into the constructor, this particular constructor, assigned the value of radius and color. Then after that, I display the object. When I display the object, by default, what it will give me? It will give me the class name, which is MyCircle, along with the hash code. Okay. A hash code is nothing but a code which is generated for that particular object to identify it. So this hash code is generated for each and every object, and that is being displayed over here. Why I'm displaying it, I will explain it in a moment. Similarly, for C2, I created an object with 2.2, okay, and then I'm displaying the content C2, so I will get another hash code. Similarly, I said SOP C3, and then I'm trying to display, so it will give me this hash code for the third object. Okay, then what I did for the C1, get radius was Get radius was get radius, which is 1.1. For the color, it was blue. For the area, it is 3.80. And for the circumference, it was 6.91. Clear? So what was the change I made? This was the change I made, which I'm giving it to you. Let me copy this and paste it to you. Okay, and what will happen is these values have been used in a constructor. So let me copy this for you. This function don't change, and this was the additional function. This was the additional function. So kindly test the code. Kindly test the code, because I had to explain one more concept. Giving you 2 minutes. So I hope you have understood this particular code, and now let's understand why this code is far better than the previous code. Now, as I said, when you'll be working in the project, it might be 50,000 lines or 1 lakh lines of code. Okay, and directly writing 1.0 or red or blue is something which is not just done. Why? Because anyone who is going through your code, because multiple people will be going through your code, as when a project comes out over them, there may be around 10 to 20 people working on the code. So they should understand the purpose of why you are written 1.0 and 2.0. So when I write something which is meaningful, such as my default radius, see how I have written, I have made it meaningful. Why I have written it in capital is an indication that it is a final value. You cannot change the value of it. You cannot change the value of it. Okay. So I'm using it over here in the constructor. Tomorrow, okay, if the presentation company says we do not want a red, we want a blue, something like that, then it becomes very difficult to go and change the blue everywhere. Now, if I want a blue, what I will do, I will simply have to change it at the top. That's it. Everywhere where I'm taking the default color, it won't be now red, it will be blue. It will be blue. So that's why I said your program should be readable, your program should be maintainable. So your program becomes maintainable when I have declared a constant right at the top, because now my job is just to change it at one particular location, which is either line 2 or line 3, and my program will work perfectly fine. Did you get it? Why I use this particular approach? Kindly keep on asking the question. Yes, someone asked me why I declared it as a private. I'll be coming to you when I'll explaining this access specifier. Okay? Kindly pay attention. I hope you already know the syllabus for your formative assessment. Let me share this. Okay, right now we are done with this. Only one point I have to explain is this particular path, access control modifier, okay, which I'll be explaining it tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be explaining you what is the difference between default, public, and private will be and protected will be explained when we'll be discussing the inheritance. Okay. So tomorrow my target is to complete the access control modifier, and I'll be starting with inheritance. Clear? This will be the complete syllabus till ST1, which is at the month end. This I guess is somewhere on 15th. Okay, so let's come back to the code. Is my code window visible to you? Now, if you look at my example, I have a my circle which has got a constructor, which has got a get radius, but we haven't used set color and set radius. Okay, so let's see how we could use set color and set radius. So over here, we'll do one thing. We'll make a call over here. Okay, and we'll comment this out because that concept I haven't taught you. What I have done, my circle 1, I simply pull these two lines right at the top. And now again what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the radius of it. So how I'm going to change the radius of it? Pay attention. C1 dot, I'll make a call to the set radius. How set radius has been written? Passing a parameter. Okay. What I will do, I will say set radius, and now I will type some value such as 5.0. Okay. Then C1 dot, now I'll make a call to color. I'll copy this color over here. Okay. And I will pass green. Done. Okay. And then again I will call these two functions. So what I've done, attention again, I created an object with 1.1 and blue. I displayed the content as 1.1 and blue. Now I change the content to 5.0 and green. So when I display this radius and get color, what should happen? It should change it to 5.0 and green. Yep. Copy this. Kindly run the code. Okay, so what I want you is, I want you to apply this for all the objects. That means kindly apply this along with this to C2 as well as C3. C2 as well as C3. Quick. Okay, so what we learned in this example, that whenever you know certain predefined values to be used in the constructor, kindly declare it as final. And when you declare it as final, write it in capital, because it indicates they are the constants whose value will not be changed. Point number one. Point number two, the concept private, which I'll be discussing it tomorrow. Okay, what's the difference between double radius and private double radius? I'll be discussing it tomorrow, because for that I have to explain the concept of a package. There is something called as a constructor over here. All the functions normally we make it as public so that they can be accessed by the outside world. They can be accessed by the outside world. So here I have the constructor, and in the constructor I am using this particular constants. The concept of the getter function is to return the value. Hence they will always have a return type. The concept of the setter is to set the value once the object is created. After the object is created, if you want to change the color, use setter function. The setter function will be having the return type as void. We wrote two functions such as get area and get circumference. So wherever possible, you shouldn't type the constant value such as 3.14. You should be relying on the system. And after exploring the packages, we learned that there is something called as a mat.py, which is going to give me the value as 3.14. Now, only one concept has to be explained. Why I wrote this particular line, SOP C1. So when I say SOP C1, by default, it gives me the hash code. It gives me the hash code. But do remember one thing. Whenever I try to display an object, it makes a call to the toString function. So let me write this. When we display the object, by default, it makes a call to toString function. Okay, it makes a call to toString function, this particular function. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to write the code in the toString function, which I have commented it out. So how will I write this particular function? I will write this in this way. Kindly write the toString function, because I know this will be called automatically when the object is being displayed. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to return a string. How is that string? That string is in this fashion: circle, square bracket, radius equal to radius, color equal to color, and anything else? No. Radius is so and so, color is so and so. Now that I have removed the comment, when I try to display the object, what should happen? It should make a call to this particular function automatically, and it should display the radius and the color. So wherever I had system.c2, system.c3. Yes. Now let's run the code and check it out. So when I run the code, what should happen is, previously we were getting the hash code of the value. Yes or no? Previously we were getting the hash code of an object. But now what I'm getting something like this: circle, radius 1.1, color equal to blue. So let's try to understand what happened over here. I created an object with 1.1 and blue. So when I display the contents, it is not giving me the hash code. What happened was, it went directly to toString function, this particular function. What we have circle and this particular message. So you are getting circle, square bracket, radius equal to. This radius is the value. What was the value we passed for the first object? 1.1. So this 1.1 is displayed. What is color? It is blue. Similarly, when I try to display the second object, SOPC2, what should happen? What is the radius? It is 2.2. Since you are not passed the other parameter, what will be the color? It will be blue. Why blue? Because by default, I have made it as blue. Is it clear? Is it clear? So now finally, my code will be something like this. It is like a constructor. We don't have to make a call to it. It will be automatically called when you make a call to an object. When you say kindly display the object, it is going to make a call to the toString function. How the constructor function is called automatically when the object is created. Similarly, when you try to display an object, a toString function will be called. If you have not written, it will give me the hash code. If you have written, whatever code you write, that will be displayed. Is it clear? When the object is created, a constructor is called. When the object is displayed, by default, toString is called. If you don't write a toString, it will give the hash code. If you write whatever code you want, it will be displayed. If you say in the toString function, this is a test function. So what will happen? Instead of radius and color, what will happen? It will display, this is the test function. Kindly make the changes, run it. I'm going to give you 2 to 3 minutes for exploring this concept. Thank you. Do not, you will have to use a public. You will have to use a public. You cannot drop a public. You should have public. If you drop this, you will get this. Pay attention. If I drop this, then what will happen is, when you run it, you will get this error. Attempting to assign weaker access privilege. Okay, it should have been public. So you'll have to make it as public. Because my students are not reading. Understood, Vishal? The batch is not reading anything. The batch is a poor reader. Something like this happens. Pay attention. Whenever we declare a class, it becomes something like this. Class A. Okay, what it is inheriting? It is inheriting java.language.object. Okay, by default, this is what internally is happening. And then java.language.object has got a toString function. Okay, by default, this toString function is public. Fine, understood? What I'm trying to tell you is there is a class called a java.language.object. It has got a public toString. From this class, you have got class A. Now this class A is inheriting. Manjot, you don't have to tell me what I'm doing. Okay, I need to explain it to each and every one. So if you have understood, don't comment. So class A is inheriting java.language.object. Okay. So this class A is inheriting java.language.object. Now, if my class makes a declaration something like this, string, then what happens is this access specifier becomes something like default. Okay, becomes something like a default, and default has less privileges than public. Public is something which can be accessed throughout. Default is something which can be accessed in the same package. Default is something which can be accessed in the same package. Okay, that's why I said default access specifier, private, public. You haven't gone through the book, you haven't read it. So by default, see, if I say class A, don't get confused. So when I say something like this, it is not public. It is not public. It is default. I have to explicitly write public intake. Then only it becomes public. Then it can be accessed anywhere. This by default is only in the package. And those who are working in Eclipse, they already know package. If you're not working in Eclipse, you are in trouble. I hope I'll be in a position to explain it when I'll be teaching you something called as an access specifier tomorrow by using Eclipse. Is the doubt clear, Vishal, Yuvraj? Anyone has any doubts? In case you have any doubts, absolutely no issues, because I'm going to teach this over here. So my explanation was for that particular concept where you were getting this particular error, that if I drop a public along with the toString, then my code is going to complain. For a very simple reason, your class by default is accessing something called as java.language.object, and it has got a toString function which we are overriding, but we haven't learned overriding because we haven't started with inheritance. If you are using the same package, you do not get an error, but toString is something which we haven't defined. It is already there in java.language.object. Hence, we have to use public. Yes, imported particular package by saying import package name dot star, but it is absolutely a bad practice to do it. When you're importing the whole package, you are telling that I'm not sure which particular function I'm going to use. So never use this star. It is only meant for convenience to the students. But in the organization, in the companies, we do not use star. We do not allow it. Okay, let's continue. There is a class time which has got 3 members, second, minute and hour. It has got a constructor, 2 constructor, 3 getters, 3 setters, and the most interesting function in this case is the next second. What should next second do? Next second should increment the value of the counter. Next second should increment the value of the counter. Is it clear? Understood? So there is a class time having 3 members. Constructor, very simple, is going to assign the value. So no need to explain time, get hour, get minute, get second, because get hour is going to return an hour, get minute is going to return a minute, get second is going to return a second. Set hour is going to set the hour, set minute is going to set the minute, set second is going to set the second. So let's understand this particular part. Okay. So we have a class time with a private data member, second, minute and hour. There is a constructor, this one. Okay. Then there is a default constructor in which I am saying this dot second, this dot minute, this dot hour equal to 0. 2 constructors are done. Now let's concentrate on get hour, get minute, get second. So what does get hour, get minute and get second do? It returns this dot hour, this dot minute and this dot second. Clear? Then there is a setter function whose job is to set the seconds, minutes and hours. So we have set minute, set second and set hour. So what we have learned about 2 constructor, 3 getter and 3 setters. There is a function called as set time. What does set time give me? Set time is a function in which I can set all the 3 values, second, minute and hour. You have the option of setting only the minute, only the hour or only the seconds. But this can set all the 3 values, second, minute and hour. Then there is a function called as toString, okay, which is supposed to return this particular string, HHMMNSS with the leading 0, What do you mean by this? Let's see. So there is a function called as toString, which is returning a string. Again, kindly note the public keyword. It has to be written exactly as it is, because that's how it is written in java.language.object. And here what I'm doing, I want to return a string, but it has to be written in a particular format. So I say string.format. And here I'm saying %02d, %02d, %02d. This first %2d, 02d indicates hour, the second one the minute, the third one second. Why we have used 0? Let's understand this. So when I say 02d, what it means? It means, let's assume the time is 1 hour, 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Okay. So this %02d for the hour will give me 01. And let's have colon. And the second 02 will give me 07. Since it is only 1 digit, it will give me 07. Then this 6 will give me 06. Yeah? But if it is 11 hours, 34 minutes and 45 seconds, it will be displayed as it is 11, 34 and 45. I hope I have cleared this particular doubt about the 0. If I wrote something like this without any 0, then in the first case, it means in the width of 2 display 1, in the width of 2 display 7, in the width of 2 display 6. That means you won't get a 0. You won't get a 0. Okay, you will get 176. Doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at the time of displaying. So what we do, we say 0 to D. D stands for integer. D stands for integer. Is it clear to you till now? Yes, no? Okay. Thank you. Now let me explain the set second. Let's take this case. Okay. 11 hours, 59 minutes and 57 seconds. Assume that this is the time and I make a call to the next second and I make a call to the next second. Okay. So what will plus plus second do? Plus plus second will increment the second. So what is the second now? Second is 58. Is second greater than equal to 60? No. If you look over here, everything is dumped over here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This starting brace ends over here. Since my plus plus second is not greater than 60, it will not execute this. Now let's assume that my time is 59 second and I say plus plus second and I say plus plus second. So when I say plus plus second, what should be the second? It should be 60. It should be 60. Right? So when I come over here, this is 60. Now let's understand this. What is second? Greater than equal to 60. So what should happen? Second should be set to 0. Okay, so we'll have to set second to 0. Plus plus minutes. Now what should happen? The minute should be incremented by 1. So what is a minute now? The minute now becomes 60. 60 minutes. Is a minute greater than equal to 60? Yes, it is. So what should happen now? Minute should be made to 0. So this is made to 0. Then plus plus hour. When you say plus plus hour, what will happen? This will be incremented to 12. This will be incremented to 12. So now this becomes something like this. 12 hours, 00 seconds, 00, something like that. Are you with me? Did you understand the functionality of this particular function? That if I increment a second, I have to keep track. If the second gets more than 60, I will have to set it to 0. I will have to increment a minute. I will have to increment the hour. Is it clear? This is the first example. Okay. Now, there is one more concept over here in this particular example that is a little bit difficult to understand, and that is this particular next second function is returning a time object. That means my return type is this. My return type is this. So let me tell you why I did this. So case number 1, time t1 is equal to new time 23, 59, 59. So when I say SOP t1, what should happen? It should come to this particular function and display the time 23, 59, 59. Then what I do, I say time t2 is equal to new time. I haven't passed any argument, so it should take me to the default constructor. In the default constructor, seconds, minutes and hours should be 0. Seconds, minutes and hours should be 0. So when I display the content, what should happen? The concept should be 0, 0, 0. Okay, the concept should be 0, 0, 0. So when I come over here, it should display 0, 0, 0. Now, let me take you to this particular function. System.out.println t1.next second dot next second dot next second. So what I have done, I could have written t1 dot seconds. Again, I could have written t1 dot seconds, and again I could have continued with it. That means you will have to write next second continuously For example, if I want to increment by 1, write it once. If I want to increment by 2, write it again, and so on. But is it possible for me to write it in a single line by saying t1 dot next second, next second, next second? Yes, it is possible. For that, my return type in this particular next second function should be the class name, which is this. What does this indicates? Kindly return the current instance. So when I say t1 dot next second, and if my time is 56, if my time is 56, t1 dot next second should make it 23, 59, 57. That is understood. But what is a return type? Return type is this indicates the current instance. Which is the current instance? T1. So now I get a reference to T1. I can again make a call to the next second. So what does next second do? Next second will increment it by 1, makes it 57. What is the return value? Return value is this. This means the current instance, which is T1. Again, I can make a call to the next second. It will increment it by 1. What is the return type? This. So I am in a position to chain this function. This is allowed only and only if we are returning the this. Hence, my return type in this particular code was this. Is it clear? Is it understood? As far as the formatting is concerned, I know that my timing is going to be 2 digits only, 23 hours, 59 minutes and 59. So what I do, I will only say 02, 02 and 02. Is it clear? My time is 2 digit only, 23, 23, 20 and 23, 59, 59. That's why I said 02, 02, 02. So let me copy this for you, and I will be waiting for your questions when you start executing this code for the next 5 minutes. So this is my first code, which is the time class, and this is my next code, which is going to test it. This document will be uploaded in an hour's time, so you can have a look at the resources. Kindly execute this code, and if you have any questions, I'll be there for the next 5 minutes to answer. It is my humble request for you to download this book and read it, because that's what is expected from a computer science professional. Core Java. Okay, download this book and start reading it. It will help you a lot immensely. Core Java Volume 1. Download this book and start reading. Oh, I guessed spelling is wrong. Let, let me copy it in a bits. Okay. This is the first part. Constructor. No, return type should be this. Do not make it as time. It won't take it. This means the current instance of the class. So whenever a function is called which is supposed to return a class, it indicates that you have to return the current instance of that object. So we say this. Kindly check the brackets carefully. If you are working on the online compiler, do not make this class as a public. If you are working in an online compiler, do not make this class as a public, because in online compiler only the main class should be public. Those who are in the campus can go to the library and have the book. Otherwise, you can download this particular book. Just search for this particular book, Core Java Volume 1 PDF, and you could download it. And tomorrow I will tell you till where you have to start reading. Any edition will do, Tanmay. Any edition will do. Because these are the contents written by the people who had developed the Java. Okay. So it may take around 6 months for us to read it, but you should do it. It's a very, very good book. It goes everything in detail. Okay, all of you kindly run this particular code. This entire document will be uploaded. Kindly go through it. Tomorrow, if you have any doubt in this last example, which is a little bit tricky, you ask me. Tomorrow, we are going to start with access specifier. It is this one, beta. Core Java. Volume 1. Okay, that will be the end of my session. This particular last example and the diagrams were very, very important. So I'll upload the document in an hour's time. You can go check out the document, and if you have any doubt, you can raise it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with access specifier and inheritance. That will be the end of the session. Thank you very much. It is expected from the computer science student to read the books. Okay. So I really expected that you knew that some concept about inheritance, but I guess I will explain it. No worries.